50 years ago, 1961, the 23rd day of June. On his 19th birthday, this young pharmacy clerk was accepted into the IBEW Electrical Apprenticeship Program. The following Monday, June 26th, he reported to his very first job assignment.
Started out with Bourdet Electric and had no idea what I was doing. I learned the first day that you don't wear nice khakis and a dress shirt, nice shoes, because we went to an old steel mill with a dirty, greasy motor and disconnected it. And I ended up going home and throwing my clothes away. That night I went to Sears and bought my first blue pair of overalls, so I learned quickly.
From a class photo, I saw that you graduated with William Bradley.
Yeah, Bill Bradley and I were apprentices together. There was quite a few people, Henry Hines and George Scarborough and different people that went on to do good things in the electrical industry. And so Bill and I were apprenticed together. That was in '61 through about '64. And then in '65, Bill and I were both working for Collins Electric. And we went on to work together for about 15 years or so until Bill founded Bradley Electric. Without knowing, I purchased a lot next door to Bill and the Bradley family. And so one weekend I noticed that I thought I saw his old green '56 Ford out in front, and went back and checked, and by golly, we were going to be neighbors. So Leslie and Karen and Billy and Jimmy and the kids were all next door, little kids. And so for 10 or 12 years we lived next door to each other. And so they grew up, and so I always tell the story that you have to be nice to the little girl next door because someday she could grow up to be your boss. And so you got to be careful. And in 1968, they asked me to go back and if I would teach apprenticeship. And so I went to the University of California, got a lifetime teaching credential in education, and from there started teaching, and I've done it ever since. I didn't really intend to teach. They just wanted me to get this license as kind of a precaution that we would have the availability of having teachers, and then all of a sudden I was doing it, and that was it. So.
Bob was tough, and we were all really afraid of him.
I was just petrified of public speaking, and so I took this class just kind of to try to get over some of my fears, because I was going inside dealing with architects and engineers, and I felt ill at ease speaking in the groups. And so when I took this teaching class, had to get up and do it, and I did, and within a year or so I was hooked. And
I was already intimidated by the electrical industry as a whole, and here I had to learn about electron flow and theory and all this fun stuff, and math came into the equation with conduit bending and calculations and stuff. And you know, Bob was able to bring it down a level so it wasn't so scary.
You're in the class, you're in his estimating class, 1986.
Oh, wow. That's when it was.
And your name is Leslie Bradley.
Yes, Leslie Bradley, 1986.
As often happens with students and distinguished academics, did you find yourself attracted to Bob?
He couldn't wait to ask that question. Yes, everybody was in the class.
If I'm doing the math right, you have over 700 in estimating.
Yes.
You've had over 1,100 in your apprenticeship
Right.
classes. You've had an impact. You've influenced and taught 1,800 people
Yeah.
in the Bay Area
Right.
in this industry. That pretty much covers the industry.
Yeah, probably 1 out of 2 I've had in some way. I've touched in some way. That doesn't mean that I made them what they are or anything else. It just means that I introduced them to some things, and that's the part that I'm proud of. That you know, that I touched their lives a little bit. You know, gave them a little information.
Are there other notable names and owners, people in this industry that you've had the benefit of teaching, or they've had the benefit of your teaching?
Yeah, there's been several. One comes to mind is Nick Dudo, who went on to be the owner of Metropolitan, or was at the time the owner of Metropolitan Electric. Steve McDonough with Paganini, who was important person at Paganini. There have been several. The two Abbott brothers that took over after their dad passed at Abbott Electric.
Can you think of any significant person in this industry that you haven't influenced?
Oh, I'm sure there's lots of them out there.
Are they even worth noting?
Well, probably not. But
if you go back and look at people within the San Francisco electrical industry, almost all, if not the vast majority of, were all trained by Bob in one manner or another. Either it was through apprenticeship, or after apprenticeship, they would go to the estimating class, and they would go through a series of estimating classes and become estimators, project managers. So, you know, in the course of Bob's career, he's touched many, many lives.
Are you ever concerned that any misinformation may have contaminated the entire business?
well, I don't teach them everything in estimating. You know, there's always that one. I got to keep that little edge for myself. But no, I think the big thing about teaching is that, and doing it this long, you get lots back from it. It isn't, you know, you give, but you also get.
If we could remember half of what Bob forgot, you know, we'd be successful, and that really says a lot, because Bob is, you know, you can ask him, you can talk to him about technical issues, you know, construction-related issues, but even so, if you have an ethical issue, you know, you've got a tough client, or there's this ethical dilemma that you have on a project, you know, he'll guide you through that too.
You know, just the way he communicates as a, you know, with that skill as that teacher. So it makes it so that people are uninhibited to go and ask him questions. So they'll come in droves to that corner office that he has and ask questions all day long. And so it's a gift for us to have that, to be able to have somebody that's sharing that knowledge in such a nice way, because, you know, other people have knowledge but they don't share it, and it's just the way Bob can communicate so well that everybody wants to come up and talk to him. And after 50 years in this trade, you can imagine the knowledge that he carries with him at all times that everyone can tap into. So, because I had tried to get in his head too as to how is he still doing this in this career and this long, and, you know, how do you, because I'm 27 years and you get burnout moments and stuff, so I'm digging deep to how he does that. And he says, you know, I may be in however old his body is, but he says, I look through it in 30-year-old eyes. My eyes are 30 when I look through. That's all I see. And so I said, darn, if my eyes aren't older than his eyes, how's that working out? I gotta get those 30-year-old eyes. That's how he looks at the world.